Welcome everyone to beautiful New York City. My name is Isaac and I am going to be your tour guide for today. And it's so nice to have friends from all over the world, as always, joining us for this exciting tour. We have friends sending their love to you from all over the world, from Maryland, Illinois, Mississippi, Alabama, Arizona, and New York, of course. Many from Chicago sending their love to you, and many other places. I hope you enjoyed the music. It's a little taste of what New York has to offer, a diversity of culture, history, and spiritual gems. So I look forward to sharing my experience living in New York and serving at Bethel. So if there's anyone in our audience who's young and is thinking about maybe one day serving in Bethel, well, I hope this tour is helpful to you to show you the possibilities if you were to ever serve in Bethel as well. Well, dear friends, I'm so excited because we have so many new things to share with you. And one of those things is I would like to invite everyone, if you can, to join me on the next tour of this tour on Saturday, April 27th. If you know somebody who wants to see New York or maybe is planning to visit New York, well, you can share that information with them. Hopefully you can share the correct Zoom information, the 845 Zoom information. That will be very helpful to them. And that's going to be on Saturday, April 27th at 8 p.m. New York time, and the following events there. And also, friends, you can watch this tour, the recording of it, on YouTube. So if you love virtual travel and you want to continue to see more of me, well, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a goal of 3,000 subscribers. So if you want to make that possible, help me make that possible, well, I would very much appreciate it if you went to my channel there. You can search on YouTube, Isaac Lopez Virtual Tours, and there you can become a subscriber. So we look forward to sharing more virtual travel with you in the near future. Well, dear friends, many of you have joined this tour because one day you're thinking about visiting New York. And I have some wonderful news for you because we have various options for you to be able to enjoy beautiful New York. So many of you are planning to visit Bethel, and you'll notice down below there are 3 companies that are owned by brothers that are helping friends visit New York. We have JW Trips, which plans bus group trips to New York and Bethel. They can take care of all the arrangements for you, and you don't have to worry about anything. So if you like making friends and visiting Bethel, well, that's a great option. Also, personal group trips, if you're visiting Bethel with a group of friends or maybe your family, well, witnesstrips.com offers the most beautiful B&Bs, homes and apartments owned by witnesses near Bethel. And also you can find recommended activities that you're going to see today on this tour. So it's an easy way to plan your visit to Bethel. And finally, if you're looking for a great way to tour New York, well, our friends at thewalknyc.com offer some of the most beautiful tours of New York City and its history of the Metropolitan Museum. So if you're looking for a Bible tour, The Walk NYC is the place to go. Well, you can find all this information at witnesstrips.com, so don't worry. If you have your phone out, if you want to take pictures of this, this is always very helpful to have at a future date. So witnesstrips.com, as mentioned, you can rent the most beautiful homes near Bethel with your family and friends, bus trips to Bethel, and one hotel that's owned by witnesses and managed by witnesses is the Harvest Inn near Walk Hill. So if you've never heard of the Harvest Inn, it's a beautiful hotel about 10 minutes away from Walk Hill, Bethel, and that's another great place to stay when visiting Bethel. So I hope you enjoy staying at the Harvest Inn. Well, the NYC Walk takes care of your tours in New York. And if you want to experience more travel, dear friends, we have a Europe trip with a group of brothers and sisters on September 1st to 12th, 2024. So if you've always wanted to travel and visit Europe, well, now you can travel with my global tours, and you can travel there on September 1st to 12th. And your friends, my final good news to share with you is that you can also now travel to the beautiful island of Hawaii with me. Yes, Isaac Lopez is moving to Hawaii, and he's going to be able to host you and your family and friends on the island. So we have a group trip on September 19 to 25, and I'm going to be your tour guide. I'm going to show you historic locations of the witnesses there, such as the First Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mililani Assembly Hall, and where Hawaii Bethel once was. So we have so many exciting travel events happening, friends, now that COVID is over and we can go back to normal life. And if you'd like to join us, well, you can always ask me and I'll be glad to provide more information. But for now, we're going to continue our travel to the Big Apple, the city of dreams. And why is it called the city of dreams? Well, it's because New York is known to be the place of opportunity. It's known to be the place where many people get discovered, and there's tons of rich history and culture there. So during our time, we're going to get the opportunity to travel to New York, and also I'm going to share with you my experience living in the Big Apple and serving at Bethel. So I hope you enjoy this tour. Well, dear friends, without further ado, let's make our way to New York, located on the northern eastern part of the United States. And here we've come to New York City. This is where many first landed that came from England looking for religious freedom. And this is where many came first, through the Hudson to this place called New York. Now, if you notice, New York is very, very small, but yet very big at the same time. Down below, we notice that we have the main area of New York City. And if you notice here to the left, we have right across the Hudson River, we have a city called New Jersey. And right down below, we have Brooklyn, New York. If you notice here, we have in the middle this island called Manhattan. And what divides all three of them are two rivers. The first river is called the Eastern River, and the next river over on the western part is called the Hudson River. So we're going to be exploring this entire area, and hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea of what you're going to be able to see when you visit New York. Well, let's make our first stop in New York, and then as we come down to the great city of New York, we're going to make our first stop, and this is none other than Brooklyn, New York. Welcome, dear friends, to Brooklyn, New York. And this here is a very special location. The year 1909 was a momentous one for New York City. The Queensboro Bridge was opened, connecting the borough of Queens with Manhattan, and the Manhattan Bridge was opened, making another connection between Manhattan and Brooklyn. It was also a momentous year for Jehovah's Witnesses. Earlier, Charles Taze Russell, president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, has seen the potential for expanding the preaching of the good news of the kingdom. He believed that moving the society's headquarters from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to Brooklyn, New York would be an important step in doing so. Preparations for the move had begun in 1908, and the move was made early the following year. But why was it called Bethel? Well, the original headquarters of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society that was established in the 1880s in Allegheny, Pennsylvania, back then it was called the Bible House. By 1896, the facility was staffed by 12 members. Now, with the move to Brooklyn in 1909, though, the new residence for the staff members was called Bethel. The property that which the Watchtower and Tract Society purchased at Hicks Street was owned by a prominent clergyman, and his name was Henry Ward Beecher. And he was known as, or the property was known as the Beecher Bethel. That's where the name Bethel came from, the Beecher Bethel. So Beecher's former residence, located at 124 Columbia Heights, was also purchased. Then in March 1st, 1909, an issue of the Watchtower reported, "It certainly seems very remarkable that we would get the old Beecher Bethel, and then by accident get his former residence. The new home we shall call Bethel, and the new office and auditorium the Brooklyn Tabernacle. These new names would supplement the Bible House." Now today, Brooklyn is no longer in use, as Bethel has moved upstate to Wallkill, Patterson, and Warwick. And there we have the printery. Now we're going to get the opportunity to visit upstate New York, but in the meantime, there are now 113 countries with places called Bethel homes. So it's quite amazing to see how the preaching work has continued to expand, and the name Bethel has expanded throughout the world. So the rich history of Jehovah's Witnesses here in Brooklyn is really, really rich. From being called the Bible House to being called Bethel. Really remarkable. Now, if you notice here, we have one of the magazines that Brother Charles Taze Russell would print here in Brooklyn. And the hunt was on for the best location to expand the preaching work. Now, why Brooklyn? Well, Brother Russell said, altogether we concluded, after seeking divine guidance, that Brooklyn, New York, with a large population and known as the city of churches, because many churches were in Brooklyn, for these reasons, this would be the most suitable center for the harvest work. The results speak for themselves. In a short space of time, 2,000 newspapers were published by Brother Russell's sermons. New York was a good choice for yet another reason. By 1909, branch offices had been established in Great Britain and Germany and Australia, with more soon to follow. Hence, it made sense to locate the world headquarters in a seaport city and also had substantial road and railroads. So it was a great location for expanding around the world. Now, if you notice here, this is a photo of one of the Bethel buildings here in 117 Adams Street. You can see that Brooklyn was quite different back in the time of Brother Russell. There weren't as many buildings around. The streets weren't full of cars. It was quite a different world back then. And this was how Bethel once looked like here at 25 and 30 Columbia Heights. How many of us have memories visiting 25 and 30 Columbia Heights? I'd like to see the number of people. Raise your hand down below if you had the chance to visit Brooklyn Bethel. All right. And maybe we can get somebody to share their experience. What was your first impression seeing Bethel? Who would like to share their experience? I'm going to lower everyone's hands very briefly. And if you want to share experience very briefly, maybe we can keep it under 30 seconds. That would be wonderful. I know it's going to be hard, but I appreciate the effort. All right. How about Sister Wanda?
The first time I went was back in the 80s, and I remember distinctly I met Brother Franz. I was so shocked, but more than that, I met some of the Bethelites that were in our congregation that came there, and it was just awesome. Awesome. Wow. And not too long ago, I was doing street work, and I gave the magazine to this man, and he tells me, Miss, what happened to that building that was in Brooklyn, where the witnesses used to live? And I told him that we moved to Walk Hill and so on and so forth.
Yes, it's true. The people in New York miss the presence of the witnesses. I've heard stories as well. Thank you, Sister Wanda. I appreciate that. Yes, the witnesses were appreciated in New York. Sister Laura, do you have a comment?
I went to the International Convention in 1958. It was 8 days, 9 till 9 in the day. Wow. And that was quite exciting. I was just 18 then, and I shall never forget that visit to New York when I was.
That's beautiful. Thank you. What a wonderful experience you got to experience. Thank you for sharing that. How about Brother An?
Over the years.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. We'll get to hear more of your experiences at the end of the tour if you guys want to stick around and chat a little bit. Thank you so much, everyone, for your participation. Well, dear friends, the printing of the magazines, that was the key reason why Brother Russell moved to Brooklyn. It was a great place to distribute magazines, to start printing, and to get the good news of the kingdom out. Well, dear friends, we have a special treat for you on this tour. We're going to get to travel upstate to where the new Bethels are. And you're going to get to take a glimpse and learn a little bit about what's offered at each Bethel complex, since each Bethel complex is a unique experience in itself. Now, here we are in upstate New York, approximately an hour and a half north of New York City. And if you notice right here down on the bottom left corner, we have where Warwick Bethel is located. It's located right near the borderline of New Jersey and New York. Now, if you notice right north of that, of Warwick Bethel, we have Walk Hill Bethel. That's where the farm is. And near the borderline of Connecticut and New York, we have Patterson Bethel. Now, you may be wondering, well, Brother Lopez, how far are these Bethel complexes from each other? Well, To give you an idea, from Warwick to Wallkill, it's approximately 1 hour. From Wallkill to Patterson is another hour. And from Patterson to Warwick is another hour. So if you don't like to drive, well, I'm sorry. That's going to be the best option when visiting Bethel. You got to do a little bit of driving, all right? But it's worth it. It's very scenic and it's very beautiful. Well, dear friends, during my 6 years serving at Patterson Bethel, I got to learn a lot, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about my experience. So I hope you enjoy this tour and this aspect. Now, if you notice here, Wallkill Bethel has 3 unique services that are offered there. They have the farm, where they used to have chickens and a lot of animals, but currently it's only cattle. So they have the cattle there. They also have the printery, where they print the Bibles and all the unique projects that are coming out. And also they have the service department, the department that's in charge of all the services in the congregations, okay? So that is where, those are the 3 main unique things that are at Wallkill Bethel. Now, I'm going to give you a little glimpse of the beautiful cows here. Now, these cows are pasture raised, and they're some of the happiest cows in New York. Now, guess how many cows it takes to feed the Bethel family? How many would guess 100? Raise your hand. Maybe 50. How about 5? How about 2? Okay, well, if you answered 2, you are correct. With 2 cows, it can feed the entire Bethel family. It's quite impressive. Now, normally these cows are beef cattle, and they are served for meals and special events. So here you can see the beautiful cows here in Wallkill. Now, the first time I had the opportunity to visit Bethel was back in 2010 when I was 17 years old. Now, Bethel was not always my goal. In fact, I had no desire to go to Bethel until a brother came into my life who was a Bethelite, and he started to talk about Bethel. And who would have known that 3 years later, I would be accepted to Patterson Bethel. Now, this was my favorite place out of all, and Jehovah answered my prayers. This was the place that I was sent to. Now, Patterson is quite unique as it has the artsy aspect of the organization. There you have the art department, you have the audio video department, and you have the schools such as Gilead. So back in 2013 annual meeting, you may recall that was when the Bibles were released, and that was when I got my first English Bible, since I was always in the Spanish congregation. So what a unique gift Jehovah gave me as I made my way into Bethel. Now, during my time there, I worked as a waiter. Can you find me? Let's see. I'll give you a few seconds to see if you can find me here. All right. Let's see. Raise your hand if you found me. And let's see if you can point me out. Would you like to point me out, Sister Wanda?
Yes, you're in the far back, all the way to the right, like at the beginning of the picture.
That's right, Sister Wanda. You found me. Where's Isaac? We played Where's Isaac. Thank you for playing, Sister Wanda. So here, right here, maybe around this area at the top, this is where I am right here. And I got to meet brothers and sisters from all over the world who wanted to serve Jehovah. And many of these brothers and sisters who were about 19 to 20 years old, they actually moved out to New York to commute. So that's what many sisters are doing today. They are moving near Bethel to be able to serve in Bethel. And that's very admirable of these sisters. Now, many brothers are also serving at Bethel at this young age, and it's one of the best decisions you can make. Well, I loved working in the dining room as we had to clean after the Bethel family and serve them their meals. Here you can see me cleaning 32 tables with brothers and sisters. We are wearing running shoes, so we would run through the dining room. So when I was a kid, I used to run through the Kingdom Hall. Well, they would tell me to don't run. Well, now when I got to Bethel, they would tell me, now you got to run. So I ended up getting to run for Jehovah. It was kind of nice. But here you can see that here it's a really hard work, but it's very enjoyable to know that we do this to support the kingdom work. Now, after we clean up the tables, we got to wash the dishes. And if you notice here you can see the piles of dishes that come out. And these plates are coming out very hot. So we would pull out the plates and we would pull them by twos. So stacks of 20, and we would do this 3 times a day. So it was a lot of hard work. And if you notice here, I would practice often grabbing 5 plates, setting out the table like that. So I'm really good at hospitality too. So whenever I have to set up the table to have friends over, I can get it done in a couple minutes. Well, this was us serving breakfast during morning worship. We would get the breakfast ready for the Bethelites as they would watch morning worship. Delicious bread here that was freshly made in the bakery. Now, one of my favorite things to share with people is meeting special people. That was my favorite thing about meeting or serving at Bethel. And one special person, some of you may know him, his name is Ed Salazar. Now, Ed Salazar and I were assigned to the same congregation, and we became very good friends. We spent a lot of time together, and we got to know each other very well. Now, Ed, as some of you may know, he served in the art department for many years, and now he's serving as a special pioneer. But during our time together, he taught me a lot about art. And he said, Isaac, wouldn't you like to one day serve in the art department? And I said, Ed, it seems impossible, but I think if I learn from you, it may be possible. Well, after 2 years of working with Ed, I eventually got into the art department and I got to serve there. So I got to design many, many fun things. And one of those things were these Bethel bags. They were like a fun gift for visitors as they came to Bethel. And I got to learn how to do beautiful paintings such as this Jesus painting. So I hope you're able to enjoy that. If you'd like to have this painting, I'll send it to you if you want to email me. But spending time with Ed was a very, very enriching experience because not only did we talk about art, but we also got to encourage many friends out in the ministry. Now, if you notice here, this lady, her name is Eileen. And Eileen was at a retirement home, and we would go to this retirement home every Sunday to teach people about the Bible and to help them understand a lot of profound Bible questions. Now, every time we would finish our Bible study with the elderly there, Eileen would express her gratitude for our visit. And she would tell us how growing up, the pastor from her church would not allow them to read the Bible because he was afraid that she would misinterpret the Bible. Well, she expressed how she loved learning about the Bible. Unfortunately, Eileen is now sleeping in death. However, we can be assured that she went to sleep with the hope of one day re-arising again. So Eileen, we look forward to seeing her in the new world. But here you can see me, I'm teaching them about the Bible. You can see we would have them line up in the morning on Sundays, and we would cover topics such as, what does the Bible really teach book? Jesus, the way, the life, and the truth, and many other more. So it was such an enriching experience having these with Ed Salazar. Well, if you'd like to learn from Ed, you can join his courses at ODE2Art. He teaches art there, and he does it all through Zoom. So it's a very nice way to continue to learn. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be using those skills to serve Jehovah at Bethel. Well, friends, I have to share this with you because one of my all-time favorite things and funnest things to do at Bethel was giving tours. And now I get to give tours to you guys. So Bethel has really been an enriching experience. Now, after serving as a waiter, I eventually got called to the Bethel office. Now, you may be wondering, what's the Bethel office? Well, the Bethel office is where organization is done. All the rules and all the arrangements are done in the Bethel office. And I had the privilege to help with Gilead correspondence. So Gilead correspondence was basically the people who organized the events of Gilead. So some of you may have heard of Gilead. It's a school that encourages brothers and sisters to learn and encourage more brothers and sisters in their countries. Now, if you notice here in front of you, you'll find a picture of the first Gilead school. This was located in South Lansing, New York. Now, the Watchtower and Bible School of Gilead was founded in 1943 in upstate New York, and it was provided specialized training and biblical principles to thousands of men and women from around the world. Here you can find a beautiful photo of one of the classes of Gilead here in upstate New York. Now this 5-month course, it focuses on the Bible and evangelizing work to equip graduates to strengthen and stabilize God's people. Married couples attending are already in full-time service, such as Bethelites. And upon the graduation, they would return to their home assignment to encourage more brothers and sisters. So here we can see the sisters, they're so excited to be at Gilead. Well, Gilead continues to today, and there are 2 graduations per year. One in the fall, or one in the spring, and one in the fall. Now, during my time in Bethel, I had the privilege to help organize a reunion of the 43rd class of Gilead. It was their 50th year anniversary, and it was so wonderful to see these beautiful, faithful brothers and sisters getting together, friends that had lasted a lifetime. What a beautiful, enriching experience Jehovah gives to those who decide to serve him. Well, I actually just spoke to one of the brothers here in the back in the purple shirt. I just recently helped him visit Bethel with his friends. So Jehovah really keeps us connected in his organization. Such a beautiful thing. Well, finally, friends, the last place I'm going to take you to is Warwick. Warwick Bethel is the newest Bethel of them all, and this is where the governing body resides and also where the Bible museums are. So if you're looking forward to visiting Bethel, this is what you can find there. Now, one of the museums that I took my parents to here in Warwick is called A People for Jehovah's Name. It's a beautiful museum that allows you to exhibit a visual history of the spiritual heritage of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, if you notice here, you can find some beautiful photos of the history. You can see a photo of Brother Noah on the bottom left corner, and you can see how the preaching work has been carried out throughout the entire world. You can even find different historical items such as bicycles that were used for the preaching work. You can see how it has a little box in the front, like a little case full of books. Well, that's what the brothers would use to preach the good news of the kingdom. How wonderful is that? Well, they also have another museum called The Bible and the Divine Name, where you can see various Bibles throughout history, and you can find Jehovah's name mentioned in them. And finally, the last one is called the World Headquarters Faith in Action. This is a tour that allows you to be able to see how Jehovah's organization works and how the governing body administrates resources to help our brothers and sisters worldwide. So, dear friends, because of I'm not allowed to show too much of the tours, you're going to have to visit in person to see it. But I hope that you were able to get an idea of what's available at each Bethel complex. And if you need assistance visiting Bethel, well, friends, I'll be happy to help you. And when you visit witnesstrips.com, there you can contact me and I can help you visit Bethel one day. Well, friends, we are returning back to the beautiful city of Brooklyn. And one thing I want to share with you is a beautiful hotel located right in front of Old Brooklyn Bethel. And this is called the One Hotel Brooklyn Bridge. Now, when Well, dear friends, here at the One Hotel Brooklyn Bridge, this offers a spectacular experience. It's actually free to go to the rooftop, so if you're looking for just a great view. Alright guys, this is Wagyu beef steak. It's nice and cooked. Mamma mia. So, dear friends, it's actually funny because when they began this construction of this hotel, it began to block the dining room view of the city in Brooklyn, Bethel. So many friends in Bethel were upset that this new hotel was being built, but it's okay. The friends are now enjoying their beautiful lake view in Warwick. And if you want to see this beautiful view, well, now you know. You can come to the rooftop here at the Brooklyn One Hotel, and you can enjoy these incredible views of New York. Well, dear friends, I'm going to take you through a little stroll down memory lane for many of you. And this is in the Dumbo area. Now, Dumbo is the area down underneath the Brooklyn Bridge. And here in this area, it's famously known for its pizza and restaurants. Now, one specific restaurant I'm going to take you to is called Juliana's Pizza, which is known to be one of the best pizza spots in Brooklyn, New York. Now, when you come here, it's a small little room, yet it's filled with energy. You can see the people crammed in, but they're so excited to try some original, authentic pizza. Now, the founder of this restaurant is named Grimaldi. Yes, you may recognize that name. It's quite famous for pizza. And Grimaldi opened up this restaurant because after selling his name to another restaurant or an owner, he ended up opening this restaurant here to continue his craft. Now, this is one of the best pizzas in New York. If you're coming to New York, I highly recommend that you get your pizza. You can take it to go if the line is too long, and then you can take it to eat underneath the Brooklyn Bridge. And here you can enjoy these amazing views of the Brooklyn Bridge and the city. So I hope you enjoy that experience coming out to Brooklyn here. Well, friends, we've had a wonderful time visiting Brooklyn, and now it's time to make our adventure to our next location. And in order to get there, we have to cross a bridge. Now, which bridge should we cross? Well, there are two options, friends. And if you notice, right in front of us, we have Brooklyn. And right across, we have the city of Manhattan. That's where we want to go. And in order to get there, there's two bridges that we can take. The first bridge on the left is called the Brooklyn Bridge. And on the second bridge on the right, we have the Manhattan Bridge. And these two bridges are named after the two locations that connect them. Well, friends, we're going to take a walk through the famous Brooklyn Bridge. And as we step into this iconic Brooklyn Bridge, we embark on a journey through history, architecture, and breathtaking views of New York City's skyline. Spanning the Eastern River and connecting the boroughs of Manhattan and Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Bridge is not just a crossing, but a symbol of ingenuity and human achievement. Designed by engineer John Augustus, and he completed this in 1883. Now, one of my favorite things to do in New York is walking the Brooklyn Bridge. And here you can see you can walk right over the traffic, and this is one of the most iconic activities to do when coming to Brooklyn. Now, you can also ride a bike through here. So if that's something that is appealing to you, well, you know that's possible. Now, despite facing numerous challenges over the years, including fires, collapses, and neglect, the bridge has stood as a test of time, serving as a lifeline for commuters, a backdrop for countless films and photographs, and a symbol of hope and unity in times of crisis. So this bridge really changed history in New York as it connected Manhattan and Brooklyn. Well, from here, we're going to make our way into the great part of New York, and this is Manhattan. Now, we're going to make a quick stop to an iconic building here, and this building is called the Freedom Tower, and it's located where the One World Trade Center is. Now, some of you may recall this place. This was where 9/11 happened. On September 11, 2001, the Twin Towers were destroyed, and what has been built since then is a beautiful building called the Freedom Tower. Now, this is a memorial, and you can go here to learn about the history of New York, what occurred on that day, and also you can learn about New York and how unique this building really is. Now, when visiting the One World Trade Center, tourists are greeted by a symbol of resilience rising from the heart of the lower Manhattan. As they ascend to the observatory, the journey through time and emotion from the somber yet inspiring 9/11 memorial to the breathtaking panoramic views from the top of the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. Now, at the observatory, visitors are treated to unparalleled vistas of New York City and beyond. They can gaze upon iconic landmarks such as the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, and Brooklyn Bridge, while also gaining insight into the city's rich history and vibrant culture through interactive exhibits and multimedia presentations. Now down below, can you see where the Twin Towers used to be located? Did you see the two square boxes? Well, that's where the two Twin Towers were located, if you notice closely. And right off to the side, you can see where the One World Trade Center stands. It's right across from there. So now we have a fountain that commemorates the event of the Twin Towers falling, and also we have names on the plaques remembering the names of that night, of that day. Well, right next to the One World Trade Center, we find this unique building called the Oculus. Now, this incredible architecture project, it shows ingenuity that meets modern urban life in Lower Manhattan. This striking transportation hub that allows you to take a subway through New York City is designed and renowned by the architect Santiago Calatrava, resembles a majestic bird in flight and its soaring white ribs and expansive skylight. Now, as tourists enter the Oculus, they are enveloped by a sense of awe and wonder. The vast cathedral-like space serves as a bustling nexus where commuters hustle to catch trains, shoppers browse designer boutiques, and tourists marvel at the intersection of form and function. Exploring the Oculus offers a sensor feast for the eyes, with its sleek lines, luminous interiors, and innovative design features. Visitors can wander through a curated section of shops, offering everything from high-end fashion to artisanal goods, and dine in chic art eateries offering diverse culinary experiences. Beyond its architectural splendor and retail offerings, the Oculus is a vibrant cultural hub hosting arts installations, live performances, and community events throughout the year. So this is a spectacular thing to see when coming to the lower part of Manhattan. Well, friends, I know you're getting hungry, so let's go grab a bite to eat. And let's make our way to one of the most best places to visit for food. And this place is called Chelsea Market. Well, friends, welcome to Chelsea Market, a vibrant destination in the heart of New York City. Here you'll discover a bustling hub filled with delicious food, artistic treasure, and unique finds. One place I'm going to take you to, it's my favorite place, and this is called the Starbucks Reserve. Now, how many of you love coffee? Raise your hand if you love coffee. I'm with you on that one. Well, dear friends, here at the Starbucks Reserve, it's not your typical Starbucks. This place, in fact, is where they roast the coffee. So they roast the coffee at this location, and when you step in, you really feel like you're Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, but for coffee. Well, here you don't get just regular coffee, you get freshly baked pastries, pizza, bagels, and coffee imported from all over the world. Here you can also see coffee being roasted, as you can see right in front of you. They roast the coffee, and then after it's roasted, they spin it around, and then the coffee is then exported through these tubes here that are then taken over to the bar for you to get freshly roasted coffee in your coffee mug. How fresh is that? I don't think it gets any more fresher than that. Quite amazing to see. Well, for those who need a little pick-me-up, there's a bar on the top level of the reserve so you can enjoy a drink and you can relax with this beautiful modern setting. It's really the spectacular experience when coming to New York. Well, another fantastic experience, friends, is coming to a place called Little Spain. As New York is a melting pot of cultures, well, you're going to be able to travel the world within a few steps. So here in Chelsea Market, we find a store called Little Spain that allows you to try food that's authentically made like in Spain. Now, right in front of you, we find a very popular ham in Spain called 5Js. And 5Js is made of pigs or boars that eat only acorns, and they run in the wild. So the acorn diet allows them to have a very sweet taste when they are made. And if you notice here, the man is taking a very thin blade and he's cutting the ham extremely thin. And this is an art in itself. They have to get specialized training to do this. And once they cut it extremely thin, then you can enjoy it. It's a very, very popular thing to do in Spain. Now here I am with one of the managers of Cinco Jotas, and he allowed me to try a piece, and it was quite delicious. I really enjoyed that ham. Now you can also see them make paella. How many of you are familiar with paella? It's a very popular dish in Spain, and you can see them using wood. This place is called leña, and you can see them cooking right in front of you, making the delicious paella. It's really, really nice. So I hope you enjoy visiting Little Spain when you visit New York. Now, friends, as many of you have enjoyed in the intro, music is a big part of New York culture. Specifically, one type of music, and that is salsa. And if you're visiting New York in June, they have salsa dancing at the pier, where you can go for free and gather with brothers and sisters from all the Bethel complexes and all the city, and you can dance salsa with the beautiful backdrop of the sunset in New York. It's quite the experience. Well, friends, on this tour, you're going to get the chance to listen to a little bit of salsa, and if you want to dance, well, get on your feet and dance some salsa. Friends, what's so special about salsa is that cultures from all over the world will gather together and dance. You'll see Asians, people from Africa, people from the Caribbean, all gathered together dancing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Well, friends, here what you're looking at is a massive park located on the island of Manhattan, and this is called the Central Park. Now, in the Central Park, we find a famous museum. And this museum is located here on the eastern part of Central Park, and this is known as the Metropolitan Museum of Art and History. Now, friends, this place is extremely popular and it's extremely significant. This is actually where I fell in love with history. How many of you fell in love with history here? I don't know if you can relate, but this is where I fell in love with Bible history. And this is what has brought me with you tonight. This place and the brothers who gave tours here. Well, friends, now I'm going to have the privilege to show you around this beautiful place, and I'm going to have the privilege to show you what's available when coming to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and History.
Welcome, dear friends, to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and History in New York City.
Welcome, dear friends, to the Metropolitan Museum, where you can find artifacts from ancient Egypt, Greek, Roman art, European paintings, such as Rembrandt, Van Gogh, and Monet. Here you can find tons of history, and if you notice closely, this statue even has the name of Jehovah on the crown here. Quite impressive to see. Now, when you come to this museum, you're going to be able to find special gems from history and the Bible, such as the one you're going to see now.
Welcome, friends, to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and History. And if you notice right next to me, we have a goddess of the Egyptians named Sekhmet. Now, Sekhmet, if you notice, has the head of a lioness, but she also has the hair of a woman, and she also has breasts like a woman. Now, she was the goddess of war, and the pharaoh would often seek her help in order to go against the other nations. So if you notice, the lionesses were the ferocious ones. They were the ones who did the hunting, and therefore the Egyptians made her a goddess of war.
Well, friends, if you'd like to learn more about that goddess, you can take, I'm going to mention one of the tours you can take with me, but we're also going to see more gems here at the Met.
Welcome, friends, to the Metropolitan Museum of Art and History. And if you notice right next to me, we find a statue. And here we have depicted Mary sitting on the throne with Jesus on her lap. And if you notice closely down below, we find that she is crushing a serpent. Now, Christendom tried to depict the prophecy found in Genesis about the woman crushing the serpent's head. But you may recall that prophecy actually said that he would crush the serpent's head. So, although Christendom tried to depict it, they didn't get it quite right. Now, you'll notice that Jesus is sitting on the lap of his mother. But where did this come from? Well, if you notice the photo right next to me here, actually shows that same idea all the way back in Egypt. So this idea is no ordinary idea. It actually goes back to the time of Egypt.
Well, friends, some of these explanations of history and its beliefs are very profound. So therefore, if you'd like to learn more about booking a tour in the Met, you can go to witnesstrips.com, or you can enjoy these virtual tours from the comfort of your home on witnesstrips.com. So there you can get the 10 plagues, and you can become a member there at witnesstrips.com. Now, some of those points that I mentioned about the statues of Jesus and also the goddess Sekhmet are found on my tour of the 10 plagues. So if you've never seen that tour, I highly recommend watching that, and that's going to be available on my website at witnesstrips.com. Well, friends, we've had a wonderful time seeing some of the gems offered at the Metropolitan Museum of Art and History. And now for our final location, I'm going to take you to a special place here in New Jersey, right across the Hudson. And this is none other than the Stanley Theater. Welcome, dear friends, to the Stanley Theater, formerly known as the Stanley Theater. Well, this is the Jersey Assembly Hall, dear friends. This is actually owned by the witnesses, and you can come to assemblies and conventions here. Now, this architectural gem is located here in Jersey City and has a rich history dating back to the opening in 1928. It was originally designed as a lavish movie palace. The Stanley Theater was renowned for its opulent decor, including ornate plasterwork, sparkling chandeliers, and luxurious furnishing. It quickly became a beloved entertainment venue, hosting vaudeville shows, concerts, and film screens that captivated audiences near and far. So it's such a great place to visit if you ever get the chance to visit New Jersey. Well, dear friends, our visit to New York has been nothing short of extraordinary. We marveled at the breathtaking architecture of the Freedom Tower, and we have witnessed the rich history of Bethel and observed the remarkable growth of the preaching work. We were also privileged to see how cultures come together through dance and music. New York remains a city of endless opportunities. In the words of Frank Sinatra, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. It has been an honor to show you and be a guide in New York, and I hope you can see why it's called the City of Dreams. Well, dear friends, before you go, I'd like to share a couple things with you. So glad you were able to enjoy the tour. And before you go, I'd like to invite you really briefly, friends, if you'd like to join me on Instagram and YouTube, you have my Instagram name down below, and you have my YouTube name down below. And if also you'd like to support these live virtual experiences, well, you can send a gift in the mail, or you can buy me a coffee at Buy Me a Coffee, Isaac Lopez. So if I do drink a lot of coffee, so if you'd like to buy me a coffee so I can continue doing these virtual tours, well, it's very much appreciated. Thank you so much for your love and support, dear friends. And as a reminder, if you'd like to subscribe to my YouTube channel, or if you'd like to watch this tour again,